All right, so you're level 15. There was an earthquake. There was talk of some sort of demon and a solar angel. And by the sounds of it, the solar angel is under the demon's influence right now, and that's might be why the earthquake happened and why everything is shattered. So we're going to be going into the Tartarian depths, and we can only hope that before we meet up with this solar angel, uh, that you get more than 5 more levels. I said we'd just be taking you to level 20, which some people consider the max level of character in Dungeons and Dragons, or maybe the final age you would be willing to play Dungeons and Dragons at. But if you were going to solo this boss, which could be the final boss, it would make sense for a solar angel under demonic influence to be the final boss in this sort of a game. If we're going to be slaying or defeating a solar angel, you're going to need to be at least 8 levels higher, or you're going to need to have some sort of foolproof plan that you can engage to defeat the thing, and hope, if you're lucky, everything works out. So we're going to be going into the Tartarian depths of the Zill Master. Zill, from what I can remember, are a humanoid insect species. So when you say insect species, that might just mean really humanoid insects. That either means they're really tiny people, or they're people-sized and have exoskeletons, which is that their skeletons are on their outsides instead of on their insides. And when you think about it, it's kind of hard to understand what any of the terminology means, but they're called Zill. And I don't know if they're friendly or not, because we're just going to be going around slaying them as we encounter them. We're going to be auto-targeting, and we're just killing these things until we can get 8 more levels so we can kill that solar angel under demonic influence. Because I think that's what we're here to do. So let's just start hacking away. First, some description. Okay, there's some talk of this guy, Chitrax. Chitrax is a diabolic Zill of such caliber that his society willingly cast him out to wander the plains for the remainder of eternity. So he's just going to be plane shifting and walking from different planes. So he's got elementals, and like I don't know what it'd take from that. If he was exiled to different planes, you'd think there would just be one. Desperately seeking revenge. No one ever likes being exiled. The Zill searched for a good way to destroy his people outright. Okay, that doesn't make sense to me. In the course of his roamings, he came upon information which confirmed the existence of a malevolent exiled god, Astrakor, the Undying, a terrible threat to the stability of the plains if freed. Oh wow, these things get worse. A exiled god. Well, I guess this exiled god may or may not be as dangerous as the solar angel, because Arglus was already a goblin god king, and he wasn't really that powerful. You would think the minimum level for a god would have been 20. I think in 3.5 it is 20. You have to be at least level 20 to become a demigod, and it looks like the campaign we're playing through, that's not true. It looks like a god is just a template they can add on to things in this campaign or adventure that we're walking through. there is no evidence of this exiled god's existence. So this is all just rumors. Uh, Nothing concrete, nothing substantiate, no clues, no evidence. But there is talk that there is this exiled god. I believe we just heard his name, Astra Kahor, or something like that. Let's just call him Astra. The only way to reach this god, Chitrax realized, was through the mighty power of a wish spell. Moreover, the Zil knew where he could find one at minimal cost. Aware of the world's largest dungeon and its original purpose, he suspected the Devil's Vault still contained a powerful pit fiend named Ketor. Wow, a pit fiend? Honestly? Wow. I guess you would need to slay a pit fiend first before you got to a solar angel under demonic influence. You would probably slay a pit fiend or a Balor before getting to solar angel. Wow. I always forget about those. His name's Ketor. As if, yeah. The mad plan, to be certain, Chitrax has been especially careful not to reveal the truth behind his goals, for he knows breaching the walls of the visit would surely result in the deaths of all his servants. The wicked Zil traveled a myriad of material planes, but Atlas, for all his searching, he could not locate the place. That might be a typo. I think it's supposed to say alas, or maybe it does say alas, but alas can kind of look like Atlas when the font is all scrunched tiny and pixelized, and you can't really specifically make out the details per letter of the word you're saying, and you're just sort of guessing at it. To me, it looks like it says Atlas, but maybe that's just wishful thinking. It's also amazing how we can't really keep track of the words we say at each other, and how much of this is just filling the air with one's voice. Yes, I think it was alas. But why would you say but alas? I don't know. I'd have to look up the technical usage function of the word alas. A number of dusty tomes spoke eloquently of it. In frustration, he tortured and maimed many a sage and scholar in his efforts to locate the massive complex, until finally one brutalized soul gave him a name, Alcaman. Even Chitrax had heard of this ancient lore master, but he had believed, like most beings in the plains, the old man dead. He quickly tracked down the sage, finding him deep within the astral plane. That makes sense. Of course, it's going to be there. After torturing the old man for 2 years, the sage finally revealed the location of the dungeon. Not trusting the information, Chitrax took the crippled scholar with him. When they finally reached the sprawling complex, he killed the old man and left his bones to rot on the surface before descending into the dungeon's tunnels. Unable to locate the vault on his own, he suspected it remained concealed and intact. He also realized he could never hope to uncover the vault on his own, as the labor would be too overwhelming for just the one creature, so he turned to the Duro. Those are deep dwarves, I think. Duro, for assistance. In their warrens, they had uncovered extensive veins of true silver, a substance especially useful for controlling and containing devils. That makes sense. True silver would be used for infernal purposes. That makes a lot of sense, actually. and deposits of adamantium. Two things Chitrax knew. The Celestial was used to create the vault holding the fiends. With the recent geological instability, more and more clues revealed themselves to the malicious, self-serving Zill, turning suspicion into solid evidence. Before the inevitable assumption of control over the Mad Duro, Chitrax approached a trapped Formian queen. Oh, I thought the Zill were the Formian. I'm sorry, I got Zill and Formian confused. Just disregard everything I've said about their species. Weakened and injured from a costly war with the Duro, and desperate to be back in touch with the hive on her native plane, the Zill's honeyed words swayed her, and she agreed to transfer control over her most trusted Myramarks. In exchange for her freedom, the Zill lied, of course, and murdered her in the shadows of an obscure cave with her eggs all around her, stealing her essence and trapping it in a special phylactery. I think I'm saying that correct. Phylactery. I've seen the word before, but it's something I should probably look up. Phylactery. Considering the unusual nature of the region, Chitrax organized his minions with brutal efficiency. He commands the entire operation, answering to none. Serving him are 3 Formian Myramarks. I think those are like matriarchs, and they just have a specific word for their matriarchs, which are Myramarks. And his response of something about a great hole, an extravagant great hole maybe. His responsibilities include procuring stone golems from the gnome, positioning the golems at checkpoints throughout the complex, and maintaining existing ones. Also serving him are squads of Formian warriors, some of whom ride Gorgons. These guards oversee extraction caverns, patrol the tunnels, and ensure traps and sentry towers are in working order, and so on. Chitrax, not content with the true silver extracted by the other Myramarks, crows, started drilling into the Great Hall for the more true silver, entrusting the operation in addition to the responsibilities for security. In fact, the Great Hall has transformed from the region's central nervous system to a massive drill, refinement, and transportation site. Hence, security is thinner there than it was just a few short weeks ago. The second Myramark controls the security and excavation of the northern mines. With the recent waves of plague and rogue Zill ambushes, the place has collapsed into chaos. Furthermore, the Myramark here does not trust the Zill master and bides his time, waiting for proof of his suspicion to surface. Most of the remaining labor there work to build a giant bore to expedite mining. Why would you build a giant bore to mine things? I don't know. The last Myramark oversees excavation. A typical extraction crew consists of a taskmaster, Darrow leaders, a lesser servant, 3 handler crews, 3 teams. Each group of handlers control one of the following. I can't read any of those words. Each monster digging team crushes the rocks, and the teams are responsible for removing the rubble. 2 teams are composed of a Grimlock's 4-man and Duergar slaves. Oh, Duergar, that's the word I was looking for. Those are the deep dwarves. I don't know what Duro are. Yes, it's definitely Duergar, man. If you did anything to the Duro because you thought they were Duergar, that's understandable. The deep dwarf soldiers. This crew uses magic device created by the evil gnome to test the depth of the rock, search for dead crews that were mining, and see if they're still alive. Material compositional changes, their efforts are dangerous and futile. It's dangerous to use the device because it occasionally unleashes crackling electricity, nearly always vaporizing a slave or two. It is futile because the device only has an accurate range of about 5 to 10 feet due to the vault's inherent warping nature. Fortunately, the recent collapses and instability of these excavations severely reduced the Duro's command structure, allowing Chitrax to ingratiate himself easily. Slipping past the Patronus and the xenophobia that describes the psychology of this degenerate race, he rose quickly through the ranks to become the trusted advisor of the only remaining high savant, eventually supplanting the leader and taking control of the entire region. Wow. I have to really think that when I play Dungeons and Dragons, I really don't like being story told at for 20 minutes before starting an adventure. Well, we come up, we're in caves now, in caverns. There was a crack in the large room from before when we realized all this stuff was happening around us and that this prison was fragile, all this stuff. And, we went into the crack to see where it was exposed to, and so we're in caves now, in caverns. This is all seeming very familiar. There's a sentry tower standing on the broken plain as a 100-foot tower instead of a roof. A large spike bears the impaled effigy of an unrecognizable humanoid. 3 bas reliefs of demonic faces decorate the surface of the structure. On the brows of each of the faces is bright blue, red, and yellow gemstone, each about a foot in diameter. Aside from the open maws spilling reddish fluid, perhaps blood, there are no entrances into the building. A few scattered piles of broken bones litter the immediate vicinity, some partially submerged in the crimson runoff. And as soon as I heard that there were gems in the statues, it really made me realize a huge difference in these games is when the game is already prepared to give you the story that you want at any level, and if everything is scaling to you, then there's really no reason to actually level up, it seems. All you need to do is run and, auto-lock the target and just say, yes, you would like to do this thing. And otherwise, you're just going to be locked down into a whole bunch of microtransactions, just non-stop microtransactions. Wow. And then once you're doing a whole bunch of microtransactions, it's just so the code vibrates more, or the connotations to the technical notes of words said vibrates more. And wow. Like, there's a tower, there's a statue, there's another tower, we're going through caves, mad scroll, trapped column, trapped gate, we're in caves, old mines, encampment in a cave, an encampment in a cave, they live in caves, trapped hallway. Fusillade of darts were in caves. Intersection in a cave. Scythe gauntlet